What's up, y'all? My name's Tim Ream. I'm here today on the 78th day of the spring cut. I'm going to be doing back and calves today. Got everything set up. There's not going to be really any major changes at all from, my last few back workouts. Still going to be doing just, some good feeler sets before we get into those heavy sets to failure. That being said, I do got a topic I want to cover. I've been seeing it over the last couple years kind of grow and escalate, and it's catching on, but it's a topic of TRT, and I'm just going to go into what I think about it, some pros and cons, and I'll get into that while we go into the workout. So we're going to start over here with just regular cable pullovers for the lats, get those pre-exhausted, and we're going to go over into our other lat movements, and then get into some rows for some thickness. That being said, we're going to start out over here.
Well, that's good because most people aren't proficient in any of the parts. Yeah. It's not good. I think just coming to that level of awareness is a massive step forward for most people. Most people never think, I really need to have my stuff together in order for me to do what I'm trying to do. And because of that, what ends up happening, bro, is these people live their whole lives in a body that they're not happy with, making an income they're not happy with, with a relationship they're not happy with friends they're not happy with, and they kind of look around and they're like, well, this is what I got. And it doesn't have to be that way. Let's get the vessel right. And then that unlocks all the potential to go into business. What is up, guys? It's Andy Priscilla. This is the show for the realistic about our lives, the fitness, and delusions of modern society. And welcome to Motherfucking Reality. Guys, I'm just going to get right into it today. We have 75 hard verses, all right? You saw that on the thumbnail and on the title. I don't need to break any surprises, but I got my buddy here, Connor Cozen, who I've been talking to on and off for a long, long time on the internet. He's here in the studio.
Body weight is officially 159. I'm going to go another probably a month and a half, 2 months. I'm going to try to get down to about 145. The goal, and it would be kind of the ideal place that I'd like to get to, but it would be whenever I'm sitting down and leaning forward that I can actually see a visible six-pack, and it's like not very much fat, if any, at all there. Obviously there's got to be some, but you all have that skinny friend that he's like just sitting there with his shirt off and he's just got a fucking six-pack sitting there. Like, that's where I'm trying to get to, so just fucking lean. But yeah, bump up some weight on this. I'm gonna go about probably 3 or 4 different warm-up sets and go on an all-out set. But yeah, on the topic of TRT, man, I've been seeing it over the last couple years really gaining momentum, and it's like a lot of people are hopping on it. And I think that there are definitely times that you need to get on it. Whenever you get older, obviously your levels drop. But you kind of got to look into why your levels actually drop. Is it because you're older? Is it because I got a bunch of shitty food that I'm eating? There's actually a lot of lifestyle factors in there too, as well as you're getting older. My thing is, I feel like you don't really need to hop on it until you've actually adjusted and tweaked your diet. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, lifestyle changes. There's actually certain things you can do to treat the underlying cause. There's an underlying cause of why your testosterone is low to begin with. So if you want to get down to the bottom of it, really, you don't just try to get rid of the tree by snipping the fruit off of it. You need to get down to the root cause and pull the tree out at its roots. So I'm saying there's an underlying cause of why there's actual low testosterone. It's food and lifestyle, all the stuff I just said. And I feel like I need to get down to the bottom of that. And if I do all the adjustments that I need to and I still need testosterone replacement therapy, then let's maybe hop into it and consider it. But there's also health risks with it too, so I feel like you got to really be aware of them. But I feel like people are really just hopping on this bandwagon, and it's become almost a fad or craze, and it's just like, dude, I don't think people are really thinking it through. But
I competed in bodybuilding show when I was 19, but it was teens. It just wasn't for me, but I was always in good shape. I knew that my relationships needed work, my business needed work, my finances needed work, things like that. I think that was a big problem for me. So the reason that I got into it was because I heard you say that. I was like, I need to round out some shit. I'm not perfect, neither are you. There's a long way to go, but I knew I needed to round out my shit, I could just be in shape and use that as a crutch. Like, I think you use your business as a crutch for not being in shape.
Absolutely.
And you realize, like, this is bullshit.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely I get, bro. 100%. You know, dude, you're running a 9-figure business at 350 pounds. That's not a fucking thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm drinking every day. I'm fat as
Yeah, like this stuff, that TRT actually takes years off your life, man. So it's like people are hopping onto this stuff and they're staying on it. They're planning on staying on it for years and years, but I forgot what the actual science is on it, but I want to say it's like, 10 to 15 years. It's fucking hard on your heart and shit. It's just like, I feel like they're making some long-term decisions with a short-term play, rather than having some sort of aspect of longevity to it. If you've weighed those options, I think it's a good option for you. I'm obviously not a doctor, but I think the same people who are trying to promote this stuff to us is the big pharma. And big pharma just doesn't have a track record of being, really caring about the people that it actually puts the drugs out to. I don't know, I just feel like there's something weird about it. Like, why is it getting pushed now? I don't know. Though they really want men's mental health to really, be there, and they want us all in good shape, and they want your testosterone right where it needs to be. Fucking crock of shit, dude. I don't know what's up with it, but I just feel fucking weird about it for some reason. I don't know. And hell, part of me wants to hop on it, But I know if I've got low testosterone, then there's some underlying reason why I've got low testosterone. And through my history of addiction, I have been the person that could have gotten on anxiety medication. I could have gotten on antidepressants. I could have got on all that shit. But I knew that it was just a short-term solution for a long-term play. And I actually wanted to not have any medication in the mix because I actually want to get down to the bottom of what's causing this shit in my life. And since I didn't take it and didn't mask that shit, then I actually had to get down to the cause of what was causing my anxiety, right? It was inaction. It was, projecting too far into the future, a lot of different things. But it actually allowed me to address all this stuff at the root cause and change it there. And I became a better person because of it. I had certain times in my life where I would literally walk around with at 8 anxiety, for multiple years at a time. And it got to the point where I was able to learn to cope with it. But I could have definitely just taken some medicine and it had maybe been fine, but then you're causing other side effects and it's doing all this shit and it's spiraling out of control and it's fucking horseshit, man. So I just see this as the same thing. You're just masking something and you're not actually, it's like putting a Band-Aid on a cut and never addressing the cut, Considering the cut never heals, hypothetically, but I don't think that should be the answer first, is what I'm trying to say. There's people that need it. I'm not saying there's not, but I think you should definitely be selective and realize what's really going on and really come to terms with the whole picture before you say, yes, I should probably get on this here.
Exercise. I just love being outside doing different things like that. I didn't care if I wasn't drinking with people. I knew that the records would come with me. And it's funny because now your business is doing so much better. My business is doing so much better. Our entire office is so much better. My office is down 220 pounds. Dude, it's unbelievable. Everybody in that office, I've had half the office is on 75 hard if completed it. They completed it with me. There's a funny story laughing.
Like I've been doing for chest, trying to do some sort of all the way, just pause in the stretch position and then contracted. I'm trying to implement that same type of mindset in all these other movements like legs and back and shoulders. Have that pause in the stretch position and then, flexing in the contracted position. And you can do it pretty good with some exercises, but I'm just saying, I'm trying to keep that in mind as I go about these two, just to make sure I'm getting the most out of the range of motion and each set that I'm actually doing, and not really worrying about the weight, just more the focus and squeeze and all that stuff. I'm still going to want to use as heavy weight as I can, but I'm just saying that's kind of my main focus, is the contraction and squeeze and the actual range of motion.
Okay, good for you too. Well, it's rough, right? And I'm good at
I hope you look at us and we take some question from those guys. Like, there's tons of business for everybody. I want them all to be successful, but we're building men inside our office. That's what we need in this country. We're building men, and the first thing you got to do is get your ass in shape.
Yeah.
I always tell my guys, I told them when we flew out here for my birthday, like, the only thing I want from you guys, I want you to make a shitload of money, and I want you to be in shape so your kids inherit those habits. That's all I want.
Oh, that's
cool. Men in there, they can write along, we're teaching that stuff later. But I'm trying to build things that we have younger guys, and his brother works for us, and he's 24 years old the other day. And I'm like, dude, I've made so many mistakes in the last 10 years, and luckily I was able to make a little bit of money when I was younger, spent all of it, and I'm lessons, so I'm just trying to teach these guys. Hey, these are the lessons that
Oh my God. Yeah, this is another thing too about all that stuff too. Whenever I was overweight, I was drinking a shitload of coffee, overeating, smoking cigarettes. I went to my doctor because I was having like stomach issues, and he's like, dude, you got acid reflux. He's like, whenever you have acid reflux, it's like the tip on an iceberg. Like the acid reflux is just the tip, and there's a lot of other stuff going on in there. And he was like, I'm just going to prescribe you this medicine. I was like, nah, dude, I don't want that medicine. I want to know what the hell is going on. What can I do? What kind of lifestyle change? Guess what he said? Okay, so he tried to give me a prescription first. Then whenever I refused that, then he actually gave me the natural, kind of remedy. He's like, stop smoking, stop drinking, pouring coffee in your gut. It's acidic, right? Get food that's not acidic as fuck out of your diet. Now, what do you know? Stop overeating. He basically gave me some ways to get around it and some lifestyle changes. And what do you know? 4 or 5 months later, I'm feeling better. And so it's just like total lifestyle changes that you wouldn't actually make. So basically, the symptoms would persist and the need for the medicine would persist too. So it's like, unless you're dealing with this stuff at the root cause, then you're not getting down to the bottom of anything. You're not solving anything. You're just masking the true problem. And I want to be better as a person. I want to be in line with, the best lifestyle that you can possibly lead. I think the TRT is right along those same exact lines. I think it's probably mainly our food. Like, I've seen people just change up their food choices, and their testosterone went from like 400 to like 900. Dude, just from like, their food choices, and I don't know, they may have started exercising, but a lot of it was just certain, foods. I was like, God dang. So, I just think it's a big deal, especially since there's actually negative side effects, and it reduces your life expectancy.
I thought I was quote unquote rich. You know what I'm saying?
Alright, going to close grip, palms up, pull down. Ashley did a really good range of motion with that. Good contraction and squeeze. Pretty much the entire range of motion. Maybe got a little sloppy there last couple reps, but that's kind of to be expected when you're going to failure. You stop being able to complete full reps, and you might only be able to do partials. So I try to just do as many partials as I can until I can't move the weight, and then that's what I consider true failure. I don't do drop sets. I don't start pyramiding down. I don't do rest sets. 1 set to positive failure and partials, maybe a couple forced reps if you got a buddy there. But that's pretty much all you need to stimulate that growth and go past what your body's used to. Alright, close grip, palms up, pull down. Just going to do 1 or 2 warm-up sets and then fucking blast them home for a good all-out set to failure. Get good and connected with the muscle here in this movement.
Okay, where are you guys at? We're like Scotts, Arizona, area. Yeah, Phoenix, but more we're south and we're heading Camelback. Are you there?
Not this year, I wasn't.
I didn't think so.
I went the year before.
Yeah, I drive down that road every morning. Yeah, it's funny to.
You guys ever do it? Bro, it is hard.
It is hard.
I'm glad you said that.
I'm sure you came, it is hard.
Yes.
Yeah, you're Corey out there, fitness, you follow.
Yeah.
So he's my trainer. I'll talk about trainers in a second, but he would always be like, hey, let's go hike. We would do it every Tuesday morning. But then he got to the point I was telling DJ, it's like, we're not actually hiking together. Like, you're just running up the mountain, and you're just waiting for me to get to the top. Like, it is very hard. Yeah. It's not like DJ is just talking, it's like, it's bullshit mountain.
Can you tell me the story about it, dude?
No.
So we showed up like a half an hour earlier.
And I had a couple people, like they just now seen my videos at like day like 56. And the whole thing is, like I went through the 75 hard program, and whenever they actually started to tune in and see my stuff pop up on their feed, it was like day 56. And they're like, man, sorry, what's your height and weight? I just checked in, and you might have covered it already, but they're like, I'll go and take a look at day 1. And I'll tell you, like, I didn't plan on taping any of this. I did plan on starting to get my workouts on tape at some point, but I didn't plan on doing it whenever I started. Kind of just got a moment of inspiration. I was like, fuck it, dude, if I'm not going to start now, then I might not at all. And so whenever I first started, day 1, I didn't even talk. I just went through the workout. Day 2, I went through the entire workout, and then at the end, I kind of had enough courage to actually be like, start talking a little bit. But it took me probably 45 days or 50 days of just verbalizing my methodology and the philosophies that I'd learned. Because I went through them in my head, I'd sorted them out in my head, but articulating them was a different story. And so, like, it was really repetitive. I covered a lot of stuff over and over and over until I, basically learned just how to articulate it. So those first 45 days especially was just like fucking brutal, really repetitive, a lot of long pausing and thinking. And now I've actually kind of got it out to where I'm able to articulate my methodology and the philosophy that I've been learned, which is high intensity, and actually able to articulate it all right. So this is a total learning process, and I'm kind of glad you didn't see those first ones, but I did post them because I think it's important for people to see where I came from, and then maybe, see the finished product, 3 or 4 years later. Whenever they go look at day 1, they'll be like, what the fuck? This dude, maybe if he can do that, then I can do it. So I'm really just trying to set down a path and let people know that it's okay to make mistakes and go through the process that they got to go through to get good at it, regardless of what people think. Because you're not going to be perfect starting out, dude. You're going to have to fumble your way through it. Because failure is the only way we actually get feedback from our environment and gives us enough feedback in order to figure out what we need to change for the next time. Like, you can't do it through planning. You can somewhat, but not to the extent of perfection. Because reality is always different.
Why is that guy trying to be? I just always had a thing like you don't have it. I'm not going to listen to you. Like, taking advice from a trainer is not in good shape doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think there's way more trainers that understand what we're talking about than know. But it's the newer ones. It's the ones trying to make a name for themselves. And they always come around and they can bash 75 hard, and then they get destroyed. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
Terrible.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, I don't know what that is. It's weird because muscular glutton for your own punishment. Like, it's very it is and it's like the internet has become this thing where everybody's getting their 2 cents. Everybody's getting their...
Give it just a second. I'm going to go into this heavy set to failure. I'm going to do that, and honestly, probably going to just move right into my heavy sets after that too. I'm good and warmed up. I can feel it on this exercise, so I'm going to start getting right into it here. And, I knew I wanted to have like a YouTube channel. I knew I wanted to be like a positive force and inspiration in people's lives. And I went through a lot of trial and error myself, and I've sorted out a lot of shit that actually fucking works, especially in the personal development space. And I knew I wanted to pass it out. I started out just kind of riding around in my car, making videos with motivational type of content and just like tools for life. And then it kind of morphed into guns. I was going to do guns. And now it's me in the gym, and I'm going through my motivational content and stuff while I'm in the gym. So I feel like I kind of found my venue finally. And that was a trial and error thing too, It's like you really just got to get in here and get started, and you're going to sort it out from there if you're serious about it. If you're not, it's just going to fade out. But if it fades out, then you probably didn't have nothing that was at your core values anyways, or potentially didn't have anything worthwhile saying anyways. And if you've got something worthwhile saying, you know you do. So it's kind of like, when do you know you're ready? You know when you're ready. All right.
Online coaches, we're good. Yeah, really find business. I really admire that from your standpoint, because you don't coming back to relationships, I've been with the same girl for 3 years, kind of on and off, and it's completely my fault because I was working on relationships, right? So I've always been in good shape. That was something like fitness for my whole life. I feel like I drank too much because of the industry that we're in, but I just use it as an excuse that everybody does it. My relationships were suffering because I didn't want to settle down, wanted to keep drinking, wanted to keep partying, doing these certain things. But I mean, drinking water is easy, right? You don't have to gain a lot from that. It's very easy. Use my relationships. I feel so well rounded.
One thing, this I got it in my notes on my phone. Whenever I do my next bicep day, I'm gonna definitely try some close grip pull-ups, underhanded, and just try to do a couple good sets with pull-ups for biceps. And then go into some of my other movements, regular curls. And if it gets to the point, if I like that movement and how I contract and squeeze, and I feel it's actually effective, then I'll start bumping up weight on it. But I'm just gonna try to make sure I stagger it to where it's still a couple days away for my actual back workout. Because obviously there'll be some activation in your back and lats and all that stuff. So just want to be mindful that I don't have it too close to a back day to where there's overlapping. Had someone in the comments bring it up. I'm like, that would be a really good pre-exhaustive movement or a finishing movement when you're doing biceps. So now that I'm not 190 fucking pounds, you know, about 150, about 160 right now, I feel like it'd probably be a little bit more manageable as far as being able to actually do the exercise properly with good form instead of like being really jerky and just kind of riding out the movement with momentum, which will probably still be some. But and I had a day yesterday off. Just walked. That's all I did. I gave it a day after after leg day. So I did quads in the morning, hamstrings at night. So it was pretty intensive. Probably about an hour 15 or something of total work on hamstrings and quads. So definitely put a good stress on my system. So I wanted to give it a day of rest in between doing that and coming in here and doing back. All right, we're going to get right into the heavy movement here, heaviest movement. Take one set to failure here on this, and then we'll get into some single arm movements.
Yeah, man. So, you know, you've been training your whole life. You're obviously in great shape, dude. Things that you think will challenge this 75 pounds. What would you say was the most challenging? And
biceps really activated on that one. I've seen them before, but I hadn't really thought of them until, because I've never used straps up until kind of this last like 6 months. But they're these type of straps, they wrap around the bar. There's also straps that go around your wrist, and they've got a metal hook on them. I'm like, damn, that would actually probably be really good. Seen somebody using them. Not that I'm gonna go out and get some, but they're in my thinking now. It'd be kind of cool to actually just use them. All right. Whereas I was doing this one arm movement over my head and down into the contracted position, I'm now facing the machine and pulling. So I actually do feel like it gives you a better stretch at the end. And just really deep stretch, man. It feels really good. So I'm going to continue doing it facing the machine. Drop some weight here and get on it. Not going to go super heavy, just going to kind of use this as a finishing movement. Fuck it, I will go up a little bit of weight. Was supposed to do calves today, but this is already turning into a pretty intense workout here. Might just make sure I keep my volume low and save calves for, I don't know, maybe an off day. Just as a light. That's pretty brief and frequent movement. take you 15 minutes to train calves, be done with it. It ain't like I'm training a whole different body part, like a leg or back or my shoulders, and doing a ton of sets on an off day. You know, maybe like do like calves and maybe, or traps, or maybe some forearms. Like those are things you can probably do on your off days that ain't really gonna amount that much systemically and create too much of a demand on the resources that are already needed for recovery for the other body parts you just worked. All right, let's get into this here. One set to failure.
It's the two workouts. When you're busy and you're running the company and you're doing shit all day, I'm up at 5. I go to the gym and then I go straight to work all day. And I come home, the last thing I want to do is work out again. When you need to work out, it's hard to be like, all right, I gotta do 45 minutes outside and it's starting to get dark. And you're like, me running is really gonna make you in better shape, but knowing you second workout for me is really hard. And I'm a psycho about it because you be like, can't do it in your garage. You can't do it in your garage. We get home from the whole road right now. 6 minutes left. Open the garage door the house, and I would.
Alright, good movement. Heavier than I wanted to go, but just fine. Still was able to manage 11 reps with it, so still in my manageable rep range there. Where I like to be at.
Correcting your mindset so that you can open up a realm of possibilities that you have no idea even exist. Okay? A lot of you guys are living in the dark, bro. You don't even understand what you're capable of. You guys think that, this is, overkill. Like I got this dude who hit me a year or two ago. He's pretty
Alright. And last week, I kind of added one exercise in there for back, and it was bent over rows on the machine over here. And really, that puts about 8 exercises for back, just too many. If I was going to put it in there, then I would want to take one of the other exercises out. I'm just not willing to do that, so you're going to kind of leave that movement for a shoulder day because it really is trap intensive too, so just going to kind of mix that in there for whenever I get around from the front side to the rear. Then I'm going to kick that in because you got rear activation of the delts, the traps, and then kind of the back there too. So just going to kind of throw that and save that movement for a shoulder day. Then do one warm-up set and then go all out, heavy set. I'm good and warmed up, sweating, feeling good, and just kind of get a good contraction and squeeze and burn with this movement here, and then we'll fucking go in that heavy set. I just want to get kind of a good feeler set in first, just to make sure everything's firing the way I want it to.
My last 200 and whatever right now have been pretty damn good. Business is doing better than it's ever been doing in my relationship. Because I'm not making any excuses. I'm not trying to make excuses. There's people that I work with and that I'm friends with are like, I'm in good shape and like eat pretty well. Like, I'm not, you're probably on the outside, but there's a lot of shit I gotta fix. I'm not qualified to make the tweets. And if I'm not qualified, you're not qualified to make the tweets. The people that are out here saying I'm gonna make the tweets, that's where it starts. And that's the last thing.
Alright. I'm pretty sure if I get down to 145, I'll be at about 10% body fat, potentially single digits. I think I'm sitting at probably, I don't know, 12 or 15 now. I don't know exactly. That being said, I can definitely tell I've got some extra stuff sticking around. Got bicep veins coming in, especially on my legs, thighs. And the thing is, 1 pound of fat, they say, is about the size of a grapefruit, or 1 pound of muscle is about the size of a tangerine. So I've been trying to kind of really see where I'm at based on, okay, that's probably about a grapefruit. This may be totally weird to you guys, but it's just something that I kind of, like there's probably a pound there, here, there, and try to figure out maybe how much I actually got spread out over my body, which I think if I lose another 15 pounds, I'm going to be looking really good as far as vascularity wise and all that shit. So it's really where I'm wanting to get down to. And the thing is, I probably definitely lost some muscle mass. I probably could have done better about how drastically I cut my diet, but at this point in my life, like, the main thing was get this fucking weight off. Get this weight off. This is the most pressing thing. And so it kind of took priority over the muscle loss minimization and, you know, very restrictive calories. You can put the cart before the horse, but I'm trying to be ripped, and health-wise, it was probably one of the most pressing issues. So, you know, whenever I turn the corner and get a good baseline on my physique and start now bulking, then I'll kind of start worrying about more of that stuff. But, you know, I just had to deal. I'm going to have to deal with that bridge whenever I come to it, but this is the one I was at for now. All right. Yeah, those straps with the hook on it would take out all grip strength, you know, and just leave it totally on the wrist there. I could imagine you could get more, get to moving more weight with just those hooks on your hands. All right, set to failure here.
Your relationship's messed up, or out of shape, and you're not working out. It's really hard to come into work as because you got a million other things. Anybody with other shit's going on, you have to go run to work. Or forget it. Like, oh, you're pissing me off. You're not really pissing off. Your team member's not pissing off. It's your shit. Yeah. But if you got something going on, like, bring it to you.
I'm definitely going to save calves for another day. Now that I'm not on the 75 hard program, I don't have to have a time limit that I work to, so whenever I can feel my body, it's like, okay, you've crossed over that bridge to where you can tell you've hit it good. And want to keep these brief and infrequent. To show you guys, it doesn't take a lot of reps in sets. It just takes very intentional, intense, heavy sets when you do them. You only got to do 6 or 7 for a big body part and probably 4 or 5 for a smaller one. And that's really what I'm wanting to demonstrate here, is how effective the one set training system really is. It's damn effective, dude. You know, going to our one arm movements here. We'll save calves for, might do them later tonight, maybe not. Kind of just depends on how I feel.
The first time they do it, they become aware. But then over the course of time, what I found is that most people start to understand that there is no permanent solution to this. It's like taking a shower. You don't take that shower every day. It's not because you don't leak. And when you think about like what this program actually does, you talk about sharpening skill sets, discipline, fortitude, grit, perseverance, learning how to build confidence, learning how to build self-esteem. You know, you learn how to endure hard times. These things, when you don't sharpen them, you start to get off. Is the awareness. Most people are aware of those two voices that you know, the bitch voice and the posture. They know there's like this internal feeling, like I'm supposed to do this, but they can never really identify what that is. And so they're either hyper aware of one voice, which is usually the bitch voice, and then the other voice is not, they're not able to do it. You know? And then as you get
All right, so whenever you're dieting, if you're too drastic of a calorie deficit, then basically your energy is just going to deplete and deplete and deplete. If you're working hard, still working out, dude, you're just kind of running yourself down. So I've noticed, because in a cutting phase, typically going to keep your protein and your fats relatively the same. And the only thing that's going to move, whether you're bulking or you're cutting, is you're going to have kind of a sliding scale on carbs. Well, for a smaller guy, with a lower calorie intake, whenever you start sliding those carbs down, you're going from like maybe 150 grams of carbs to like now like 75 for the day. And so it starts to get into the point where you're actually really systemically fatigued. Your glycogen stores are all out. Your central nervous system, your brain, your muscular system all runs on glucose. The last 2 nights, I've noticed I've just tossed and turned the entire night. And I'm hungry, so probably good. You can start telling whenever you're really fatigued and like your glycogen stores are down, because you'll start losing motivation to go to the gym. You'll start losing motivation at all, like period, just doing regular stuff because you're out of energy. You're going to have more mental fog. Your memory is going to be a lot less functional. What else is there? You're not going to be sleeping as good at night. Your body's kind of waking you up and telling you, fuck you, dude, give me something to eat. So if you can have like a higher carb day every like 3rd or 4th day, or at least whenever you start to notice those symptoms are happening, like over like a 2-day period or something, boom, it's time to maybe replenish some of those glycogen stores, because you can keep going down and staying on the same exact diet you're on, but you're going to keep going downhill with all those symptoms I just talked about. Or you can kind of replenish those, still remain in a calorie deficit, just have higher carb days, and then for a day or 2, feeling better. Okay, now let's continue into the calorie deficit. So it allows you to diet for a more prolonged period of time to where it's actually your diet's way more sustainable. And I would rather have, like, this is already a hard process that we're doing. It's literally against our nature. Our body literally thinks we're dying whenever we're cutting back its food intake. But the thing is, so this is already hard. So why would I just make it any harder? I think if you're trying to lose a significant amount of weight within 60 to 90 days, I think you're really going to have some taxing stuff put on your body calorically, and I also think you're going to fight a really hard mental struggle, depending on how big that weight loss is. But I would more, and you could also argue that you're getting into yo-yo dieting. Well, you maintain your goal, and now like, okay, we can go back up, and it actually wasn't long enough to form a habit that is going to maintain the type of diet that you're going to need to maintain in order to stay ripped. So I think that going with maybe a 120-day diet or longer with some higher carb days in there, and you're just kind of working with your body's natural rhythm, you're going with the flow instead of against it. I think that at that point you're kind of getting in your body's natural rhythm, and it's already hard, so why would I make it even harder? If I can get with my natural work with my body's natural rhythm, it's going to be that much better. And so, but that being said, I also believe that you're building up the right habits you need in order to maintain it in the long run, because it's not so taxing on your system. And by the end of it, if you can actually go and weather through that storm, like on a shorter calorie diet, then you're going to want to reward yourself. And that's what I'm saying, yo-yo dieting, like it doesn't work. It didn't for me. So I just find it's better to go slow and sure, while building the correct foundation and proper habits, so it actually becomes a part of me over those 120 plus days, rather than it's a habit that I started to form, but then the foundation isn't thick enough, and then you go and put a bunch of weight on it, the foundation just crumbles. So I'd rather have slow but steady, sure progress, rather than just short-term gains that really don't amount to much next year whenever I've already blown them. So, but anyways, guys, that was the back workout for the 78th day of the spring cut. Like I said, I'm at 159 pounds. My plan is to get down to about 145. If I still feel like I need to go down further in weight, then I'll go to 140. But that's about where my cutoff is going to be, right in that area. So, still got about 6 to 8 weeks left to do it. That being said, I appreciate you guys who are following along with me, engaging with me in the comments. If you like the way that I take you through the workouts and the progression of them, how I break them down, I just ask that you would please share, like, and subscribe. If you don't like them, that's all good too. We'll part as friends. But yeah, that was day 78, and we will be back with you tomorrow for a shoulders and triceps maybe, or shoulders and calves. I don't know, man. Just kind of depends on what I'm feeling like. It'll definitely be shoulders. But anyways, all right, guys, I appreciate you.